So I'm not saying I know everything about this game, but I do know some things though. Okay, and I know that using a commander that requires high-tier troops, that is dependent upon high-tier troops and high-tier damage and high leadership, is a great way to get really angry and lose your whole army. Greetings, Commanders! Welcome back to the follow-up Elf video part 2. When we made the original Elf video, we knew that we were going to have to make a second one. We just knew it. And lo and behold, a day later, here we are. We want to clarify a couple things in this video and then talk about the meta. First off, I want to get to that statement. I said the meta is shifting. The meta is shifting. Say it with me. It is shifting. It is not shifted. The meta is not done shifting yet, which means is the pool is filling up. The pool is filling. If you dive into the pool right now, you'll smash your head on the bottom of the pool. The meta has not shifted completely to defensive yet. So, when we talk about Elf, even though she has a lot of potential as a great stand-your-ground commander, and she's going to be fun to play, it doesn't change the fact that in the current meta, one slot bust, Golem and Stella is still king. They are so far ahead of anyone else because it is incredibly expensive, gold-wise, time-wise, resource-wise, to heal troops. You don't want to lose troops. Losing the fight and gold healing the commander is no big deal. It's not a big deal compared to the amount of resources and gold it costs to heal troops. So until the game changes or the defense meta gets much stronger, Elf is not a great choice. She's different than Rogers, but very much like Rogers, except you don't want to play her like a Dodger Roger. So if you're one of the people that have been hitting me up saying, I'm going to main Elf, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, listen, I'm so happy for you. I want to see more new commanders mixed into the meta, and I think you're going to have fun in Galactic. But if you want to try and use Elf on your server, you have to use full march of high-tier troops against high-level opponents. And you may lose your entire army, which is why I stopped playing with high-level armies at 100,000 leadership plus in the first place. So I'm not saying I know everything about this game, but I do know some things though. Okay, and I know that using a commander that requires high-tier troops, that is dependent upon high-tier troops and high-tier damage and high leadership, is a great way to get really angry and lose your whole army. So let's talk about some replays real quick and clarify what I was saying about Elf. Alright, so I'm going to jump right out of this and go right to YouTube. And there it is. So Money from No, the guild No, is working on his Elf. And I'm not going to say how I got this replay. It wasn't from him, though. But someone sent this to me, and I want to point something out, okay? This is an ace battle. So, first thing is that you're going to see a tier 11 fight. Now, you're going to see tier 11 on the left side, 250 units of Walker, going against 150 units on the other side. All right, so we have Viper on the right side, 150 units, hits and kills 12 units. Why does tier 11, 150 units only kill 12 of 200? You see what I'm saying? Why does it do so little damage? It's because he's not wearing any gear. The damage was super weak because he didn't have any gear on. Now watch. Goes the other way. Boom. Destroys him. One shot. That's not irregular because the other guy on the left, Money, is wearing gear. Now, what you're going to see here is the airships miss. They shouldn't have, but they did because they're a tier lower and there's airships, whatever. All right, so here comes a curse. Now watch this curse in the back row. I want you to look at the back row. 192. Now the curse damage is based off of the triggering troop that did it. So it was a tier 10 airship over a tier 10 walker. We're looking at the back row here. And what we're going to see is that we're going to see a tremendous level 60 curse hit really hard. 192 units is going to drop down. Boom. Oh, that was the awakening. Oh no, that was the curse. That was 52 units of damage because of a level 60 curse. 52 units of damage on a level 60 curse because of 200 airships. So, 200 tier 10 airships did 50 units of curse damage against someone who's wearing full gear against somebody who is not wearing gear at all. So the absolute best scenario in a tier 10 fight with level 60 curse is tier 10 airships will do 50% of their damage on one curse. But we know once you start stacking gear and hull and research and buffs and all that, that curse is not going to be 25% of the entire troop stack. It's going to be more like 5%. So we'll carry on with this replay. We'll let the curses keep going. I'm going to show this just for people's reference, not necessarily what I'm talking about. People can go back and watch this. Boom, there goes another one. That was a double curse. So he had 2 curses stacked up, which is great about Elf. She can have her curses stack up. Now, this third one at the very bottom should have 3 curses. Here it comes, 192 on the bottom. Now, he had 2 or 3 curses. Anyway, it goes down 100. A little lower than 100. Anyway, the bottom line is that curse does hit hard. But this is a bad example because it gives people false expectations of thinking, well, if I have high enough leadership and I one slot bust, I could just let my enemy, curse themselves and die before they ever get to kill my slot without risking much. I know what I just said right there can be confusing, so I'm going to explain that better in a minute here. Let's see, I got one more here. This is proof that... So the way that Blessing works, I was wrong. Awakening will trigger Blessing, which is great. It is a physical attack. And if Curse... Well, okay. First, let's show you that. And then we'll talk about Plasma. Because she is a great counter to Plasma. So there's the Curse. Yep, he hurts himself. And you can see the damage and the skills and kind of get a rough idea of what it looks like. And realize how Curse is strong, but it's not... It's not so overpowered strong. It's not stupid strong. It's not one slot bust power strong. So here comes the Blessing. Boom. There's the trigger. All right. So Awakening does trigger Blessing. That's actually really good, especially against Airship, who's going to be strong against Walker. So we love that about her. We've also seen the replays in the past video. I didn't even mention at the time that Curse killing Plasma does not trigger Quantum Blast, which is great because it's that Plasma's unit's turn. It attacks. The Curse kills it before it gets an attack. You would expect it to blow up, but it doesn't. So that's nice. And of course, when Plasma does properly explode, it does not trigger Blessing. So that should cover it. That should cover the majority of Elf stuff for this video. There's one other thing. I want to go back to that talk about one slot bust and where Elf is at. If you said you wanted to put 100,000 leadership and your highest tier troop in slot 1, and just slot 1, one slot bus formation, and you were defender and someone attacked you, and you got to cast a curse on them, and then their first slot hit you, or maybe they put nothing there because they knew you had a one slot bus defender, so you didn't even lose any troops potentially, but you got that curse off. Now their slot 2 goes next. Their slot 2 gets hit by the curse. It is possible that if they don't send a big enough march or good enough troops, it doesn't even matter about the type of troops. It's really just enough troops. If they don't send enough troops in the other slots, yes, they could just curse and then die because the curse affects them before they attack. So if you send 100,000, if you have 100,000 leadership one slot bus versus their 5,000 leadership attack, you might just totally one slot bus curse and destroy them all. You could accomplish the same thing with a one slot bust with Golem's Airship Awakening 2. But, the curse is a guaranteed hit. It's just delayed in that sense. But if you're expecting to go against 100,000 leadership versus 100,000 leadership, one slot bust with Elf and try to curse the entire enemy and hope they all just melt before they ever hit your ship, you're delusional. I'm putting this number out there now without the facts. I'm going to say at best, in a fair fight, at best, remember, strength and weakened effect does not affect curse. Tier suppression does, but not strength and weaken. At best, level 60 curse in a fair fight is going to do 5 to 8% damage against their opponents. And it does stack, right? You can get it up to 2 or 3 times before it, once they trigger it, it falls off and you have to reapply it. So that's kind of where Elf is at, guys. I really want to just make people know that I am not encouraging people to drop their mains and go Elf. I think that there are still better choices. The meta is still shifting. And if you overcommit to this commander, you are going to be suffering. Remember, not a great one-slot buster, which is great for attacking people or defending. Not an ignore tier suppression commander like Bullet and Rock. So she's a full marcher like Rogers. It's one step back from the main meta until they fix the one slot bust thing with Rogers or with a Stella Golem. So yeah. Anyway, all right, that cover it. All right, boys, playoffs are coming. I'm super excited. Let's start the live streams. Let's get into this. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.